Ladies, gentlemen, and friends beyond the binary, welcome. Sorry about that. I accidentally, in a huge disaster, pushed the end stream button instead of the transition button. Welcome to the Monday Discourse or the Discourse. Hopefully that did not cause a problem. But for today, December 2nd, 2022, I'm your host, Tristan. Hi, how's it going? Just wanted to let you guys all yeah, rough start. Hello, my name is Tristan. I host this YouTube channel, Step Back, which you can find at stepbackhistory.com, and I'm also the co-host of the podcast It's Probably Not Aliens at probsnotaliens.com, and I stream on Fridays at noon. So that's a thing. I stream on Fridays at noon. This will probably, just on while we're talking about schedule, not this stream, but next Friday's stream will probably be the last one of 2022. And then, as I seem to always do at the end of the year, I'm going to reassess my streaming schedule and see what I come back with in the new year. Have to look at that survey and see what kind of things I might want to do or what will be valuable or not. So anyways, that's a different question for another time. Hey, thank you, Alan, for an item for resubscribing with Prime. Thank you for the 8 months, as people would say. If you want to support my work as I'm kind of going through things, patreon.com/stepbackhistory is where you can support me for as little as 84 cents a month and get videos early with bonus content. If you have Nebula, if you don't have Nebula, you can go to nebula.tv/stepback, and if you sign up for, I think it's like $15 a year, you get you support me immensely, but you also get the same bonus content that patrons do, plus like, you know, a whole bunch of cool shit for a bunch of other creators. Really great site. There's also channel memberships if you so desire, and if you have Amazon Prime, you get one free Twitch Prime subscription per month that you can use to support a creator at no extra cost to you, baked into your Prime membership. If you choose Step Back, I'd be very grateful, but you know, you do you. Probs Not Aliens was my most listened to podcast on Spotify Wrapped. That's awesome. That makes me very happy. Yeah. If you do have a little bit of money, things like super chats, bits, and Twitch subscriptions are always welcome and appreciated. Not necessary, obviously. I try to keep, always try to have free content for you. There'll always be stuff that costs nothing, and you don't need, etc. If you want to submit questions for future streams, I'm going to put, the link should be somewhere on screen right now, or no, have I? Oh, I removed all of the watermarks because I was using this for, if anyone watched my most recent videos, I made some very quick, like, editor Tristan things where I just filmed myself using this, and then I removed the thing. So, yeah, put all that back. If you want to submit a question for the stream for us to answer, I'm going to put a link in the chat for you to submit questions to us and stuff. So hopefully we got a few, but if we get more, you know, see what happens. And yeah, if this my latest video that came out yesterday was on wow, my brain is really not working today. It's called The Political Compass Must Die. Very fun, much content. Wow. Probably it's my best received video in many months, so I'm very happy about that. In my next video, which should be coming out sometime in the middle of January next year, is going to be about the title is There Have Always Been Trans People. So that's the idea. You can probably that pretty much outlines everything you need to know. All right. So, and also, if this is your first time here, please make yourself known in the chat. We have a very welcoming and cool chat community that is great. And so, if this is your first time, come say hello. And without further ado, let's get Mia in here.
Hello?
Hello. I can hear you. I cannot see you.
You cannot see me yet. I am incoming very soon.
You are,
Um,
or have you ascended and become an abstract spinning squares animation?
I have seen all the corners of the universe, and
You've
there I see a third Nissan Micra.
you're what's it called? You're turning into you're doing like in Star Trek where like, every other person hyper ascends to some upper plane of existence. Oh, there's a Mia.
Oh, there's a Mia.
Just a second, I gotta what's it
It's
called?
a me.
It's a Mia. I just gotta adjust your camera a little bit. There we go. All right.
Yeah, I've moved around a little bit.
Now you are here.
Hello, welcome.
It's
Welcome.
YouTuber
What?
slash politician Mia Mulder.
What did you say?
It's YouTuber sensation slash politician Mia Mulder.
Legitimately, actually true. Hi. Hi everyone. My name is Mia Mulder. I'm a YouTuber. Yes. Politician, and also the co-host of Leech Fest. I'm like, you know how there's like matter and, hold on. You know how there's like quarks and anti-quarks?
Mm-hmm.
I feel like we are the version that is like not antithetical to each other, but we're very similar to each other, just like in reverse. So like we both have a podcast.
Yep.
We're both history YouTubers in that sense. We have very similar sort of like outlooks on things, but we're sort of just like shifted. Alternate history of it. We're like an alternate history version of each other.
There you go. Yeah, that it makes sense because I'm doing a audience survey for the first time in like 5 years, and one of the questions I have is, what YouTuber do you think is, or what YouTube channels do you think are the most similar to Step Back? And Mia Mulder is overwhelmingly the most selected choice, which is I'm like, all right, I'm in good company then.
That's good. I haven't had a server like that myself, but whenever I have those like the YouTube analytics, they tell you that like your viewers also watch. You are always like in the top 5 list that they give you. Along with some good people and some not so good people.
Yes.
So you're an okay company.
I've learned very quickly through the analytics that Step Back viewers, it's very okay, and this makes a bit of sense. It is apparently the Step Back viewers apparently really like, they're going down like, I don't know why I'm struggling to say a sentence. I'm so glad it's the end of the year. So the analytics seems to have decided that I belong to a cluster that is me and Renegade Cut and Some More News, because I can actually trace spikes in views to when Some More News and Renegade Cut make videos. And Philosophy Tube and H Bomber Guy videos. Those are like the ones that every time one of those comes out, I'm like, oh, yep, Harry made another video. Harry dropped his yearly video. There it is.
I legitimately had the meme of like ooh, a new H Bomber video about the oof. I'll watch that like a bit later because I don't care about Roblox. And then 3 or 4 days went, and now I'm like, I have to kill Tommy Tallarico.
Yeah, when it came out, I watched it the hours before it launched because I watched it on Nebula at nebula.tv/stepback. But it was one of those days where the baby was being very fussy, and so I basically could not do any work. So I'm just like, I guess I'm gonna watch this Roblox. I'm like, Harry. I just saw the title. I'm like, Harry, we need to talk, please. You need help. But then, yeah, it turned into quite a thing.
It's such a good video.
Yeah,
and you also made a good video, like the video on the political compass where you managed to like do good Haas.
If the chat's to be believed, apparently we both released bangers like within hours of each other. because apparently
Yeah.
I haven't caught up on my Nebula videos in today yet, but I'm being told that the video is very good, and I will consume Mia content in probably later today. But here's the thing: I already went to the
shop.
Well, I think I already went to the coffee shop today, so I might have to wait until tomorrow. I've been texting with Mia about this because there's this weird thing that happens with me where it seems that just through like the sheer chances of the universe, I always end up in the exact same coffee shop every single time I'm watching a Mia Mulder video. Just like it seems like even like, because I walk for about maybe like 2 hours a day, and the sort of point when I stop and turn around and go home is when I stop and get coffee, and it always seems like the Mia Mulder video starts when I get to the coffee shop, like every single time. Now, it could be because the Mia Mulder video is like an hour long, so it's like, you know, just by the sheer amount of time, like that is by definition half of my walk, right? So I will be consuming Mia content just by sheer numbers.
I mean, that's kind of what happens too. Like, I just find it really funny that every time you tell me that you watch one of my videos, it's always in the coffee shop.
Yeah,
it's been like that for like a year.
It's true.
It's great.
But I
have legitimately considered asking the coffee shop, like figure out which coffee shop it is.
It's an indie.
Trying to dox you.
Yeah, it's a small indie chain. There's a small indie coffee shop called I think it's Swedish actually. Starbucks.
Yeah, they're very rare.
Mm-hmm.
But I've considered contacting that specific branch. Probably not possible now not since it's a Starbucks. But contacting them and like paying them to put up like a plaque that just says like, Tristan, remember to watch Mia's video.
Yeah. There's only one time I think I sent you a text that I was watching a Mia Mulder video, but I was not at a coffee shop, and it was because the cat was walking in front of the TV or something like that when I was trying to watch it. So that's a
classic.
Thing. Yeah, classic.
Also, apologies for eating. I'm eating like my dinner.
Yeah, it sounds like you had a pretty hectic day, so it's all right. I released my last video 2022 yesterday, so I'm like kind of enjoying a few days of breathing before I have to work on. I'm doing my podcast episode I'm recording next week is on how it's been 10 years since the world ended, celebrating 10 years since the day the world ended in 2012. And so I gotta do that, but I was like, that's 5 days from now.
God. Well, what day was it again? December
21st, 2012.
Is that, yeah. God, what a good fucking experience that was.
Yeah. And then
I remember posting about it. I remember shit posting about it on Facebook because that's what people had back then. And I remember a very reasonable like student that I was studying with being like, could you please stop posting about 2012? I'm very nervous about the end of the world.
I had that too. I had some people, like I had a friend who, she was a little bit of a space cadet, I'm not going to lie, but was like, TBH, I am actually a little concerned. And I'm like, what?
Like, why would you be?
But I'm pretty sure that she was, I think that she was high almost every single second that I had ever interacted with her.
That's probably why. This friend, like, I can imagine 2012 being a very scary experience when you live the high life.
Mm-hmm. It's very fun. What's it called? Her nickname was the Space Cadet. It was great. Yes. She was very much like, not to hype it, not to draw too much attention to a shitty book series, but she was very much like the Luna Lovegood of the group. Which is reference to Hatsune Miiku's Harry Potter book series.
Exactly. I feel like Luna Lovegood would be such a better character if they just admitted that she does drugs.
Yeah.
Because like she does drugs. Like that's, come on.
She smokes that gillyweed.
The magic acid.
But she wasn't in the stoner house, as we all established. The
True.
the house that is known for being chill and nice and also is run by the herbology professor. Like, come on. That is weed coated for sure.
Wait, isn't she part of that house?
No, she's a Gryffindor, I think. I don't know. I'm digging some pretty old memories here.
I have to look into this because like for some reason I care.
The only Huff and stuff was what's his name?
She's Ravenclaw? What the fuck? That makes no sense.
I thought she was I thought like everybody was in the good people house, and that there was basically only like one character in Ravenclaw, and that was Cho Chang. Great name. 10 out of 10.
Great name.
You hit that one out of the park there, Rowling.
Or the only black character, Kingsley Shacklebolt.
Oh boy. Yeah. But
the Irish one again?
Seamus something. I know his name was Seamus, but I can't remember what it was. Seamus Diggory or something like that?
Seamus Finnegan.
Seamus Finnegan. Oh my goodness.
And the only thing he does is blow stuff up.
Yeah. Makes sense.
Like,
that's based. She just know what's it called? Rowling just never got over Mountbatten getting blown up by the most based Irish people of all time. I was actually so Kelly and I are watching this She-Hulk show, and I see Charlie Cox as Daredevil, and I'm reminded. Do you remember when Charlie Cox was playing like an IRA terrorist who was smuggling guns out of Atlantic City and sending them to the IRA to fight the British?
No. What?
Do you okay? After this was like a show that a lot of people slept on, and I don't understand why. After The Sopranos ended, the people who made The Sopranos made another crime show that took place in Atlantic City during Prohibition, called Boardwalk Empire, and it starred Steve Buscemi as like a corrupt city treasurer and stuff like that. But one of the characters in the show was like, they had a whole subplot with like the Irish gangs basically in the city, and the Irish gang, like the Charlie Cox played an Irish gangster who was basically the point man between the Irish gangs in Atlantic City and the IRA, and they were basically buying guns and shipping them to the IRA to fight the British because it was like the 1920s.
Bless.
And I was like, go with God, Daredevil.
Damn, I gotta see Boardwalk Empire because I do like Charlie Cox. I do like anti-British violence, and also Steve Buscemi. I love Steve Buscemi. I love him so much.
Yeah, he's the main character. He is the main character of a TV show that went several seasons, and it's got some other really cool shit. Like one of the coolest main characters is like he's a World War I sniper who got half of his face blown off in the war. And because like reconstructive medicine wasn't that great back then, he has to wear like a porcelain mask covering half of his face.
Shit.
And it's like, and he's like the fucking like ice cold killer for, and also what's it called? There's another really good actor in that, Chalky. I'm trying to remember who he was played by. But there was a whole thing about like the Klan and like the sort of black, the black community. He was played by Michael Kenneth Williams.
This show seems like it slaps.
It was great, but like it feels Michael K. Williams, who unfortunately died last year, but it was such a good show, and I'm surprised that so few people actually remember watching it.
Damn, I'm gonna have to watch it now because I've been looking at something to like have to like watch when I work.
And it also was my first introduction to this date, one of my two favorite actors, which is Jeffrey Wright.
Who's Jeffrey Wright?
Jeffrey Wright, you might know from various roles. He was in Catching Fire as the little electrical guy. He was Barnabas in Westworld. He was the Watcher in What If. If you see his face, you'll know who he is.
Yeah. For some reason, that for someone, the Watcher clicked it for me because I remember the voice and then I remember the face.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Also, yes, Steve is great in Death of Stalin. I watch Death of Stalin like once a month at this point.
I gotta see that again. It's very much like all of like the boomer comedians getting together to make a Soviet movie, and I'm like, it's just like I'm trying to think, what was that? There was that movie, I can't remember what it was called, but it was this movie where they basically just got all of the old action heroes from like the old 80s and 90s action movies and had them all in one movie doing an action thing together.
Mm.
That was like that, but for comedians of the 80s and 90s. I'm trying to think.
Very much true. Oh, and I've finally watched, speaking of talking about TV shows, before we get into the questions. We do questions here.
Yeah, we do.
Allegedly.
Allegedly, there's rumors.
I finally finished watching For All Mankind.
And it's the twist at the end is based as hell, isn't it? Like when that happened, I had to like stop for like 5 minutes and being like, "What the fuck? Are you serious? This is great. This is the best thing I've ever seen. This is the best thing that's ever happened in alternate history."
So, spoiler, I guess, for people who haven't seen it, about the ending of season 3.
Yeah. Do we want? I don't want to spoil too much about what happens because it's so good. But it's the twist at the end of season 3 is so good.
Yeah.
Oh, and just to put on another thing, what's it called? Since I said one of my two favorite actors, the other one is Jared Harris, who also is based as hell. Jared Harris being the main character in Chernobyl, and also was General Grant in Lincoln, and he was.
He's also, what's his name? He's also in the fucking sci-fi show.
Yeah, he's Anderson Dawes in the Expanse.
Yeah.
Great actors. Okay. Also, thank you for the 2 GBP. Thank you for that. Thank you 255. Put the Mia video on our alternate history did not get received well. Oh my. Now I need to see this video. If it's pissing off the alternate history nerds, then I definitely need to see what's going on with that.
That's actually quite funny.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's doing well. It's getting a lot of thumbs ups and it's getting a lot of good comments, so I'm happy with that.
Yeah. I'm sitting at a solid 5 out of 5 of 10. But it is my most popular video since I joined Standard, so I'm happy with it. Which Standard was a period where I made a huge change in a lot of the ways that I make my content, so I'm happy that this is the most popular in the style that I was doing.
Yeah, exactly.
Although I should take some cues over the fact that earlier this year I made a few videos that were just after news events, and I should just do that more often, apparently. We'll see. Next year's going to be very different for me.
That apparently does work.
I did a new Valde video, and I did a video about the white nationalists terrorizing LGBTQ plus people, and a abortion right video, so I should probably do more of that. And debunk conspiracy theories, because it seems like you and I are both hit a vein where we are realizing that weird conspiracies is quickly becoming our jam.
Oh,
our bag, baby.
I'm not sure if you will agree or if you have seen the same situation, but when I make videos on conspiracy theories, I get people send me more conspiracy theories.
Oh yeah, I get tons from the podcast.
So I'm discovering like weird fake history theories that I've never heard of before, like the most esoteric shit ever that just doesn't exist here, or like even in the Anglosphere. It's fucking amazing.
I'm weirdly obsessed with next year wanting to make a video about why this is gonna be so embarrassing, about why fluoride isn't mind control drugs.
But why would they put it in the water supply then, Tristan?
You know. It does seem like you. It seems like people are really a big fan. Okay. I have. We do theoretically, on a theoretical basis, answer questions on this podcast, and I do have one
allegedly
that the Orange Man submitted like almost a month ago, and it was explicitly tagged for only when Mia Mulder is here. So,
I'm here now.
Yeah, and it'll be expired by next week, so we got to go with it. And that is, what is the funniest building you see people claiming to be built by either aliens or non-existent empires?
Probably the American Congress building.
Wait, really?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, a lot of people who are hardcore like believers in Tartaria, or like the mudflip theory specifically, they believe that the domed structures like Congress is part of an architectural style that is part of the Tartarian Empire. So, hence, Congress is actually the top of a much larger building, most of which is underground, that was built by the Tartarians. And then you have to talk about like whether or not the Tartarians used advanced space technology, or if aliens helped them do it, depending on who you ask.
Tartaria is... It's funny because you're hitting a lot of like what just seem like conspiracy theories built out of like that sort of weird Nazgul Eurasian Empire desire.
Yeah.
Like Tartaria is like, oh yeah, the Russians, like a Russian secretly ran the world. And then the other one before was like, oh, all of history actually revolves around Russians and nobody knew. And so it's like weird Russian nationalist stuff that sort of dances around that.
My favorite aspect of it all is when like some people claim that the Aztec and the Maya and the Inca were all really Russian.
Oh my.
Like they are the first colonies of like Russian exploration into the New World. Which happened like either 10,000 years ago or like last week, depending on who you ask.
10,000 years ago, before the Kievan Rus even existed.
I mean, there's also this guy. Have you seen this fucking Netflix show too of Ancient Apocalypse?
I haven't watched it yet. I'm gonna be watching it over the break. But approximately every human being on Earth sent it to me the second it came out.
It's me as well. People were like, "Oh yeah, okay, this is something that'll freak the historians out," and they're right.
Well,
I've never seen anything that makes me as frustrated. You saw how angry I got over the lady who doesn't believe Rome is real. This makes me angrier.
Oh man, I opened up Netflix the day it came out, and I got it was like how like Netflix now has like autoplay when you open it, like autoplay is like the thing it's trying to sell you. And the first thing it shows me is an interview with Joe Rogan as part of it. And I'm like, oh my God.
Wait, oh God.
Yeah, Joe Rogan's interviewed in it. Of course he is.
Why is he everywhere now? Why does our cultural consciousness revolve around Joe Rogan?
I don't know.
Anyway.
He is the future, I guess.
Advanced technology of dome.
I do like that a lot of like weird Joe Rogan guys are now getting into strange fad diets that seem to be based on things that Joe Rogan might have made celebrities eat on Fear Factor. I was just thinking about that guy, finding out that extremely obviously on steroids guy was like shockingly revealed to be on steroids the other day.
Oh yeah. The biggest surprise ever.
You're telling me that this man who just looks like a freaking saran wrap pulled over a pile of water balloons is somehow on steroids.
You're telling me that this man who claims to eat nothing but like raw meat or whatever is actually eating other things and injecting his muscles with like concrete.
Yeah.
Wild.
You're telling me that diet is resulting in anything except for a bad case of gout.
I mean, we've seen Jordan Peterson, because Jordan Peterson at least does as he believes, which means has not eaten a single fruit or vegetable in 8 years.
It's why his body's falling apart. Dude, like Jordan. If Jordan Peterson is even doing the thing that he's doing, he's gonna have a heart attack like any day now. Like after being like addicted to drugs and then also eating nothing but red meat that is like terrible for your cardiac health. Like, like the thing is like they're like, oh yeah, ancient man only ate red meat, and that's the reason we should do it already. And it's like, first of all, unfact. Most ancient people barely ate any meat at all. But the second, or it depended a lot upon where you lived, etc., etc.
Yeah.
But the societies that did live on a very heavy meat diet, they've studied their bodies and found that they had horrible heart health. Like ancient Inuit people before vegetables and fruit showed up had like serious heart conditions.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh,
people need a varied diet. Who knew?
Yeah. Somebody did ask at the beginning of the stream, in my last video, I said I was an anarchist type. Do you think that ideology like that is even achievable? And my answer is, I mean, theoretically, yes. Is it achievable tomorrow? Maybe not, but that's fine. It's a direction more than a destination, I think. But anyways, I got asked by Thought Slime that I should make a YouTube short about the person who didn't believe that Rome existed, because apparently that's a take. I had no idea what it was, so.
I've briefly talked to some other people involving a certain zone that is cringe about maybe doing something regarding that to talk about this lady who doesn't believe Rome exists.
Wonderful. And also, also on the thing you were talking about, phantom time theory is also a weird Russian nationalist conspiracy theory. I did not know that it was so tied to Russian nationalism. That's a new one for me.
It's a lot about like disproving. A lot of it has to do with like disproving the or like delegitimizing the Catholic Church in favor of like the Orthodox Church, and by extension all of Western society.
Of course. Is that sort of like, is this sort of the vein about like why a lot of like weird manosphere types are now turning into hardcore Orthodox Christians? Like what's going
maybe.
What's the Orthodox Church doing right now? What's going on with them?
I mean, like some of them seem to be like falling behind Russia in the war, so it could be something to do with that.
Oh man,
the fucking like supreme patriarch of the Moscow Orthodox Church, like blessing Putin and his guns.
Oh god.
And shit.
Okay, I opened Twitter briefly and just saw Kanye West praises Hitler, and I'm like, okay, no time for that.
Oh yeah, we haven't even mentioned that. God.
Yeah, actually, I knew that something was up because I made a video years ago on the Raelians, which is sort of like a UFO cult that believes that humans are the result of cloning experiments done by aliens, but they're also like a very chill like cult that is like all about free love and very peaceful and funding science and stuff like that. So they're actually like their beliefs are insane, but they are pretty chill. But I guess something to do with the symbol. The symbol is fucked up because the symbol is a Star of David with a swastika in the middle, which is super fun. And I guess Kanye, something happened with him and that Raelian symbol that's associated with Kanye, and it has resulted in a whole bunch of search traffic showing up on a video I made like in 2017.
So now everyone has to go and watch it.
Who is the Pope of the Orthodox Church? There is not one. There used to be one, and then the Turks destroyed it. Because basically, like, usually the Orthodox Church is very disorganized and usually focused around different countries. And they used to sort of pay deference to whoever was the basically like the Orthodox, the patriarch of Constantinople. And then the Turks were like, LOL, and they took over Constantinople and turned the holiest place in Orthodox Christianity into a mosque. And ever since then, basically, different places have either gone their own way or have fought over who is in charge of the Orthodox Church. With I think the biggest claimant right now would probably be the Moscow Russian Orthodox Church. But there's Orthodox churches. Basically, like every country has its own Orthodox Church that sort of functions as its own micro faction.
How does the I'm using quick googling. Because the Orthodox Church is autocephalous, so they're very like self-governing. Yeah, but then like every country can have one, but they can also have multiples. Because I know that like the Greek Orthodox Church has churches here. Because they're all like. They're all their own church, but they are all part of the same church at the same time. Religion is complicated.
Mm-hmm. Obviously,
I've heard that this is a problem like in Ukraine and like in Eastern Europe, because there will be places that have like the Romanian Orthodox Church and then the Russian Orthodox Church and the Moldovan Orthodox Church. All within the same area, and they all have very different opinions on how to do things.
The Patriarch in Avignon. Anyways,
this is why Crusader Kings is such a good game, because you can fix this problem.
Yeah, the anti-pope, the best pope thing or creating a head of a church thing that I ever remember, and to me is my favorite thing of all time, because it just shows the best like outsider logic of all time. So when the Turks took over the former Byzantine Empire, they found themselves ruling over a very religiously heterogeneous region, right? Like you had all sorts of religions under one hat, one very, very big onion hat. So the Ottoman emperors, to sort of manage the different religious communities that weren't Muslim, just decided to appoint some guy as the like a pope of every religion. So they made their own Eastern Orthodox pope, and they just called him like the pope of the Orthodox Christians, and was just basically the point man between the Ottoman Empire and Orthodox Christians in general. And the best is that they invented a Jewish pope, who was just in charge of the Jews.
History has this fun shit. You don't get this anymore.
Yeah. Try making that
paradox.
The mega pope, yeah. And all of
that's the caliph, right? That's the mega pope.
The mega pope was, the Khalifa, who was ever running the Ottoman Empire at the time. Because back then, that actually was the idea, is that the Pope of the Muslims was the head of the Ottoman Empire. The Sunnis weren't a huge fan of that, but...
What sucks for them?
After World War I, the Muslims haven't had a caliph anymore, and so that's a problem. All right.
I kind of respect, though, how like, for what, like 1,000 years, there's been like a line of caliphs, and then after World War I, they were like,
nah.
The Ottomans kind of fucked it up. Let's just not do that anymore. Like, very recently. The ISIS erasure.
ISIS erasure, yeah.
You're right. That is true. There have been claimants to the Caliph.
My favorite gaffe or thing is, now that Elon Musk is making comedy legal again on Twitter and unbanning all of the Nazis, one of the best Twitter accounts, just Juniper, has been pushing for Elon Musk to unban all of the ISIS accounts.
Why wouldn't he?
Yeah.
Come on, like, do you believe in free speech or not?
Mm-hmm.
I also love how Elon might get his ass handed to him by Europe. The fact that he had to go to Apple's headquarters and beg to let Twitter stay on the Apple App Store.
Yep.
And now he's gonna have to go to fucking Europe and beg them to not take take Twitter away because he won't comply with their fucking moderation policies.
Well, like last week, he fired the 3 Twitter employees who lived in Brussels and were in charge of EU legal compliance for Twitter. Man, it's been so long that we haven't even talked about how Elon Musk just destroyed Twitter in the last like few weeks.
It's been fun though to circle down the drain.
Yeah,
I've lost a lot of followers.
I have too. Yeah, like almost like 100.
I think that everyone is like almost everyone I talk to has actually have lost like a lot of people.
Are they deactivating accounts, or I don't know what the story is?
Well, from what I hear is they're from what I hear they are being a bit more like harsh against bot accounts, deactivating old accounts that have been unused. But also like a lot of people are just leaving, you know, like to go to Mastodon or Tumblr.
That's fair.
Some people can do that. I can't.
You can't go to Mastodon?
Well, I can, but like I don't get Mastodon, and I don't have the same shitposting energy on Tumblr.
It's true. Tumblr,
you know what I mean? Like, I'm addicted
place
to Twitter.
Yeah, I feel like they just need to take it away for the good of all mankind.
Tumblr?
Twitter.
Oh yes. Oh, I mean they should.
Although I do feel like if my logic is that if Twitter ever goes away, that's going to leave a specifically Twitter-sized hole in the internet that is going to be filled by somebody.
Oh yeah, you know that Silicon Valley people have like three dozen like Twitters ready to go that are functionally identical to Twitter, and just waiting for Twitter to like be gone.
Because there's like already like 3 failed what if Twitter but fascist that have already gone away, like Gab and Parler and Truth Social or whatever.
Mm-hmm. Well, Truth Social is going on technically, it's just full of fascists.
It's also not its own thing. It's just a Mastodon instance.
Oh, is it really?
Yes, it's just that nobody's federated with them. I think you have we lost Mia? Okay, no, your camera froze for a few seconds there, but you're back.
Sorry, my camera can't handle my intense bean action.
Nice. Okay, so next question I got here is, Mia, is the Tartaria conspiracy theory particularly anti-Semitic?
Not particularly.
Just the normal amount of anti-Semitic.
Just a normal amount of anti-Semitism, yeah.
The background radiation level of anti-Semitism that is in all conspiracy theories.
Yeah, a lot of people will reach. A lot of people. I think the people who are like deep in Tartaria, that like try to form an actual like theory around it. I think they are a lot more anti-Semitic than the norm. Just because there's a narrative that like this empire used to rule the world or be around in most of the world, and then it fell, and then we have these new empires coming up, but who orchestrated that fall, and then a lot of time they will point to Jewish people.
Fun.
Just because. Or they'll refer to like elites or globalists or general parasites, which seems fine, like just at the surface. But then you scratch like one micrometer like down, and it's like, oh, you just mean the Jews, because they keep talking about George Soros, for example. George Soros apparently destroyed Russia. Who knew?
Yeah, so many conspiracy. In my mind, the general concept of a conspiracy theory has anti-Semitic roots, and so will always sort of trend its way back there on a long enough time scale. The only thing that can like think the only one they could also go after, although I feel like it's not really conspiratorial, and I don't get it, but it's just the generic anti-Zionism that happens a lot in Europe, and I haven't been able to. I haven't like really delved deep into that because it's such a European phenomenon, but
you've seen the meme of like Europeans talking to Americans about racism, about racism against black people, and it's like very very sort of like and then it's like Europeans talking about
Like
Roma people, and it's just a picture of Adolf Hitler.
Yeah, I don't know what the deal is there.
Europeans fucking hate Roma people, and like
What did they do to
like,
them? They're just like people.
I don't know. They like I don't know. Europeans just have like an ingrained hatred for like any group that isn't super white and doesn't have like a long history of loving apartment buildings.
That's so weird.
That seems to be legitimately it.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's a bit of a dated term, but it's the only term I know, and that is that, at least over in North America, racism against Roma people is referred to as anti-Zygonism.
I think it's referred to that as that here as well, but it very much depends on the country, right?
Mm-hmm. Anyways, that is a video that I've been thinking about doing at some point, because I just gotta be like, people, we have to learn a fact that it's uncomfortable for us all to acknowledge, but Europe might be racist.
Yeah.
Europe has discovered
kept doing eugenics on Roma people until 1972.
Gosh. People don't understand just what refined and detailed European racism is. Europeans have discovered racisms that we can only imagine. They have, like...
We made it into a science.
Yes, probably
legitimately.
London has racisms for slightly different parts of the same city. Like... It is intense. I feel like if you go to Belgium, there is racisms for like 2 block areas.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oak barrel aged racism.
Exactly. Okay. The next question I got here is, for when Mia's here, what is the best meme from the Soviet Union?
I don't know. I don't know a lot of Soviet memes.
Were there memes and a Soviet Union at the same time?
Well, I can't just search for best Soviet meme. Can I search Google for any results before 1991? Apparently I can. I'm finding the meme lol.
No, man.
That is legitimately the 4th result on Google. It's from Know Your Meme, and it's lol.
Soviet era jokes. Yeah, I mean, Soviet. Keep in mind, comedy is different in Russia. It hits different because a Russian joke will be like, so this Mongol came into town and killed my family and my wife and murdered them right in front of me, but then I got dirt on his horse's balls, and like that will be the joke.
Isn't there a joke something along the lines of? No, I forgot. I don't even remember the basics of the joke.
It's probably like a Slavoj
Unfortunately,
Žižek
I don't know any Soviet jokes. I know the jokes that Reagan told about the Soviets, but I'm not sure those were actual jokes.
All I know is that Soviet humor is usually extremely dark and very depressing and isn't much of a joke as it is just a bunch of sad things. That's just Europe, though. That's just Eastern Europe.
That's just Europe.
You're slightly Eastern European, so you kind of know.
So something that I think is okay for you to joke about and something that I'm okay with, but that half of Sweden would like burn your house down for saying. Again, Europeans are racist against Eastern Europeans like as much as we can. People like this is the funniest thing when Americans talk about like how like racism in a very black and white scenario, right? Because that's the American context. People really underestimate how racist Europeans will be against people who are just like a slightly different shade of white.
Yeah.
Like, if you're Polish in the UK, you will be a victim of racism. That's just a fact. If you're Eastern European in Sweden, you will be a victim of racism. Like, flat out racism, because people will think that you are biologically worse than like ethnic Swedes.
Even in like Sweden, like isn't like there's we talked about many times, there's a whole racism against like basically the people in the country who are slightly more related to Finnish people than they are to like southern Swedes.
Yeah. Well, the Sami are very distinct from Swedes generally, but they are more related to Finns. But we're fine with Finns because we used to own the Finns, and we're not fine with the Samis because we only recently started to own the Sami. Once again,
this is kind of reminding me of it was a meme about it was a TikTok video about Finland, but it fits for Sweden too, which is like a North American person coming over to their friend's house who's got a new baby, and they're like, oh, like where's the baby's room? And they're like, oh, the baby's in the box. Wait, what? You just put the baby in a box? Yeah, it's a box. It's right there. The government sent it to us. It's a government box. And you're like, oh, but and then the dad's like, oh, it looks like he's napping. Just a second, and I'm gonna go put him out on the front porch. It's like, wait, what?
I mean, people will put the strollers like outside of cafes when they go in and meet their friends.
But like, even when it's cold,
yeah,
don't you worry about the baby freezing?
Nah, it's good for the baby. People legitimately say that it's good for the baby.
This is darker shit than I think I warned you. Every time Twitter talks about how you don't feed your friends when they come over or something. Or did you somehow miss this discourse about?
No, I've seen this discourse. The idea that Swedes don't feed their child's friends when they come to visit. I don't know this joke. I don't know this thing because whenever I visited my friends, I always got fed. I think this is either a city thing, a wealth thing, or a race thing, or like an immigrant thing because there's got to be some sort of bigotry going on because I have not faced it.
Yeah, if there's anything worse than going to your friend's house and their parents not giving you food, it's if they feed you chili. The worst.
Why?
Twitter has taught us that giving people chili is the worst possible thing a human being can do. Especially.
Why?
Have you not heard this story?
I have not heard the chili story. What?
This is a few weeks ago where a woman.
Oh yes.
Made chili for her neighbors.
Chili thing. It's as bad as like forcibly pushing someone in a wheelchair.
Yeah, it perfectly encapsulates. If she's gonna end up being the last main character on Twitter, it perfectly encapsulates why Twitter needs to die. It's great.
Mm-hmm.
I did not know that the person was a trans woman. I know that she was somewhere.
The person who wanted to make
spectrum.
the chili was a trans woman, I think.
Okay. Well, that explains the freak out then. Okay. Yeah, it's.
But that's what I mean. Like, it's a stupid thing. Like, if my neighbors gave me chili, I would be over the moon.
Mm-hmm. I don't know. I don't know what the deal is. Okay. Let's. How do we push?
Oh well, we don't know.
Okay, so this.
Well, I don't know.
So the next question we got here is, oh, fun. We're going from chili to this. How do we push back against the torrent of anti-trans narratives in mainstream media? We're trying. We're trying to content our way through this.
Learn how to use a gun.
Hope not. That'd be great.
Yeah, I mean, I hate guns with my entire soul, but if I lived in America right now and I was a trans woman, I would buy a gun.
Yeah.
Like it sucks that it's gone to this point, but like from what I hear from friends who live in the US, especially like in conservative areas, it's like, cool, you can't trust the government, you can't trust your politicians, you can't trust the cops to protect you, and people are like already like encouraging and excusing stochastic terrorism, to the point where fucking Pim Tool will like almost endorse a terrorist attack because it happened against like LGBT people and at a queer club. So I'd get a gun. It sucks that it's come to this. This is a really like bottom of the barrel, like worst case scenario methodology. But like, yeah.
It seems like as if like last year the US realized that the UK was more bigoted than them about something and was like, oh, we can't let this stand.
No, you gotta ramp up that to 11. Isn't like Oklahoma trying to legislate about like banning all trans healthcare up to 21 years old?
Great. Love that.
By the way, get a gun.
Yeah.
Because like, at the end of the day, people will be less likely to fuck with you if you have a gun. It's not good to have a gun. I wish we lived in a society where you wouldn't need one. And thankfully, I don't. Thankfully, I'm very lucky in that remark. But if I lived in a country that has this sort of like very laissez-faire attitude towards like trans people and like queerness generally, to the point where violence is being okay, then it's like the barrier to violence has already been opened.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like that's already happening.
Yeah. You need the at this point you need like sort of the LGBT version of the Black Panthers to protect yourself from everybody else.
Yeah. Which is like, it's a really, really bad thing that has come to this, because like getting a gun is not going to make things necessarily better. Like in the long term, it's just going to like maybe like act for a point of like some self-defense. But like if we're sort of like in a society where everyone has guns, at a certain point it's like it's also encouraging more violence at the same time. So like it's a perfectly understandable thing to do to defend yourself, while at the same time escalating.
Yeah.
But there's no way to de-escalate from us. There's no way we can de-escalate because we're not escalating. You know what I mean? Like, the only ones who can de-escalate are the right wing, and they don't want to. Sorry about the rant. I've been.
No, I get I get it. I mean, I'm like, oh, I feel safe being in Canada, and then I'm like, oh wait, Canada? You mean the country that had a attempted coup of the government by a bunch of people, like earlier this year, and it came out that the police were basically like just letting them do whatever they wanted and just ignoring the prime minister? Like, yeah, cool, love that.
Good vibes.
All because they were told to wear masks and have a vaccine.
God forbid. This is why, legitimately, this is why I've been harping on for years about buying an island. Because if I live on an island, at least I can, like, that's a defensive position.
You're what's it called? You're going to become the advocate for transnationalism?
Legitimately, I will.
Create the trans nation state? That'd be great. Become like, what's it called? Like that island, like that Wonder Woman lived on. It's just like separates itself from the world of.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is why my next video is I'm trying to say something about this, and it's not a good vibe, guys. It's not a good time.
Is that the video though where I'm?
You're gonna talk about Magnus?
Is that the one where I'm helping?
Yes.
Nice.
I have plans to have fun with that one. Okay. Remember the last stream where I asked you about white actors using slurs in historical works? Do you think white writers sometimes put slurs in historical works just to be shocking? Like I referenced Boardwalk Empire, hey, using slurs, and as much as I love that show, I'm pretty sure the intent of the times they did was not to make the viewer think, how can you believe that shit back then? Yeah, so the last stream we talked about how we were basically talking about the ethics of like, is it bad when like in a historical work when you are a white actor, even if you're portraying like, you know, a racist time in a racist situation, to have racial slurs be in a thing. And we had the consensus that like you probably shouldn't shy away from like shying away and whitewashing history is worse than actually like, but then yeah, there is also the dwelling in it too that is a problem. Like everything Quentin Tarantino does. Quentin Tarantino has really got to get over his obsession with the N-word. I don't know why he loves it so much, but
yeah. Like, I feel like there is a line, right? And, like, the line is slightly behind what Quentin Tarantino is doing.
yeah. I don't know how he keeps getting away with it. Like, there's still a lot of very progressive people who like his movies and stuff like that. And I'm like, how does this keep happening? Mostly because he then makes a movie about like a former slave who just kills a bunch of slave owners, which is base as hell. So I don't know.
Yeah.
Or the movie where a bunch of Jewish Americans just kill a bunch of Nazis. Which, theoretically, if a movie is not about that, we should be asking at all times, why isn't this movie about that?
Doesn't that end with them just killing Hitler?
Yeah, they kill Hitler. Yep.
I love when... I do love it when people can ignore real history so that they can just, like, tell a good story.
You mean Emperor Commodus wasn't killed by getting... wasn't killed by a gladiator in the arena for some reason? Yeah, they don't only kill Hitler, they, like, mag dump on him. They basically, like, they kill him so hard that, like, he gets erased. Like, they filled him so full of bullets, his, like, face disintegrates. It's wild.
God.
As any good movie would.
Any good movie would. That's how every good movie ends.
That's why, like, you know, the people who made the Wolfenstein games, the reboot Wolfenstein games, and they're always just like, yeah, I made this because I hate Nazis, and shooting Nazis is good.
Yeah. I actually mentioned Wolfenstein in my last video about alternate history, and initially I had a longer segment, but I didn't have time to finish it, and the video was dragging on anyway, and it was dwelling too much on video games, so it wouldn't work anyway. Anyway, so I had a quick rant about like how alternate history fiction can either be for alternate history fiction to be like alternate history fiction and not just be like sci-fi or science fiction. It has to be or fantasy or science fiction. It has to be somewhat plausible. Like it has to like follow a realistic point of history, or like a realistic path of history from a point of divergence. But that's not really what Wolfenstein does, right? Because it's not really an alternate history thing. It's just pure wackiness. Because the Nazis take over the world using ancient Jewish magic machines, and then you get to kill thousands of Nazis also using ancient Jewish magic when you take revenge. It's great. On the moon!
I gotta play that game at some point.
You haven't played a reboot? Oh, it's so fucking good.
Listen,
I've
been trying to beat The Witcher for over a year.
Oh yeah, but that takes forever because that's an open world game.
Yeah, I also recently finished Opus Magnum, so now I always have two games going at a time. One that I can play while listening to podcasts and stuff like that, and one that actually requires I pay attention. So right now I'm still working my way through The Witcher and also playing Super Mario Odyssey as my like podcast game.
Oh, fun.
Yeah. Also,
and then I assume also RimWorld, because I see you play RimWorld.
I off and on. I haven't. I will come back to it at some point. I want to point out though also just this is apropos of nothing, but I just got a Steam update that seemed like something that everyone would be interested in, which is I just found out that just now Jack Saint just loaded up EU4. So Jack Saint is currently playing EU4, everybody, just so you know.
Lovely.
Love that for him.
What's he playing? Can you see?
No, I just had a little pop-up that said Jack is playing EU4.
Oh, wonderful. Can you update us in like 10 minutes? Because Steam tells you what nation you run and what time it is. I'm just genuinely curious.
I got
No, or maybe I shouldn't. Maybe we should like game docs checks.
Game Talks Yeah. Um, so the next
He's playing Prince Borgon of 1488.
oh no.
Oh God, that number came out of nowhere. God, that's the worst number to pick.
Great stuff. Shame him if it's Brandenburg. Yeah.
Yes.
See, here's my general thing about this is I in Paradox games I will never ever play Europe. I cannot, I will not with it, ever. It's my statement of protest against Paradox's Eurocentrism. Hey, that's a good sound. Thank you 255AD for the 1 month at subscription. Thank you, or 4 months. Thank you. All right. Why has the UK been able to be without a single constitution for centuries?
Why do they need a single constitution?
Yeah, I don't know.
They have multiple ones, right?
Yeah, I don't exactly. The UK's legal system seems like it's just a mess of things that just is held up because they haven't had a proper revolution ever.
Oh, they actually did. Oh, they don't have a single constitution. So in that case, they just have like a bunch of written and unwritten arrangements, but it hasn't been formally codified into a single document.
Yeah, British law is weird.
Huh. Yeah, because it's based on like.
It's basically you just need to know like 400 years of case history.
They legitimately sometimes still use like laws from like the 1300s when it comes up, like in some niche case, because that's like the most recent thing they have, and the law is still technically on the books, and it's still relevant in some case. Yada yada yada.
There you go. Vibes-based legal system. Exactly.
Vibes-based legal system. Yeah.
Common law is by personal. Yeah, I don't. Is Sweden a common law or a civil code country?
I do not know the difference.
So common law.
I should probably know the difference as a politician. I should probably know the difference.
Yeah, common law is when case history is used more often in legal stuff, and legal civil code is when like interpretation of the law itself is the thing. Civil code is like big in like France and a lot of like kind of Latin countries, while like the UK and a bunch of other countries I think is more common. I bet I could.
I think it's civil law. I think we're a civil law type of country.
I bet I can find out using the internet. Yes, it's a civil law system.
Yeah, makes sense. Okay. Yeah, because like the American way of like, oh, this court decision before claims this.
Yeah,
has never really made a lot of sense to me. Just like, what does the fucking law say?
I'm looking at it, and it's not surprising because this happens a lot. It's one of those things where every single country in Europe uses civil code except for the UK.
Fucking Anglos, once again.
Yeah.
You keep fucking it up. For every political system that exists, you decide to make the worst one because you don't like Napoleon.
Yeah. Civil code basically seems to exist exclusively or almost exclusively in countries that Britain has done terrible things to, i.e. it's Ireland, the United States, Canada, Australia, New Zealand, Pakistan, and for some and Sudan. Okay, I see the commonality of all of these.
Because it's like an extension of like feudal president or some shit like that.
Yeah, it must be, right?
And like every country in Europe has either had massive restructuring because Napoleon came in and changed everything, internal revolution, or just like internal change in the case of Sweden because we undefeated. And England, I guess, but England just decided to not change anything.
I mean, England decided to not change anything is like virtually the description of England throughout history. The rest of the world updated, and the British decided not to.
or they decide to update, but worse.
Yeah, they went their own way, but made it bad somehow. Oh boy. Okay. So,
Undo update regarding Brexit.
yeah, can they get a do-over on that one?
Apparently not, because every politician is like, no, don't want to.
They need to. If they ever end up doing it, what has to happen is that Otto Messerschmidt, I don't know what his name is, whatever, the German guy, the inheritor of the Merkel Reich. I don't remember what his name is.
Olaf Scholz.
Yeah, Olaf Scholz. Olaf Scholz needs to the condition for the UK rejoining the EU is that they have to show up to Berlin, and basically the prime minister has to like crawl on hands and knees through a small like doggy door has to show up to Brussels and crawl through a doggy door to enter into European Parliament and apologize for leaving. That'll work.
That'll work.
Okay, next we got here is, are you happy or were you wrong? Oh, this is for me. Am I happy that I was wrong about the states returning to the moon? Sure. So I found out last stream that I was sort of like, we're not going to go back to the moon anytime soon. And then I guess they are now. They're just going to the moon in like 2024. And I'm like, oh, that's nice. I'm glad they're doing it instead of not doing it, I guess. I thought it was gonna be a lot later because I knew that they were planning on using it to go to Mars in like the 2030s, but I'm guessing that they were dragging their feet for a long time, and then all of a sudden the last like 3 Xiongha missions have been extremely successful, and they're like, we should probably get back on this before China owns the moon.
Yeah.
So it turns out that like, you know, like 50 years later, we are going to do For All Mankind. It's just going to be we're just going to go jump to season 2, and it's going to be with China instead of the Soviet Union.
Yeah. I'm really fucking excited. I've been following Artemis for a long time, and I watched the launch live and everything. It was great.
It honestly, like, I'm a cynical asshole, but like the idea of like I don't watch a lot of the sort of like NASA missions when they happen live that everyone gets excited about. This one, when they send the people to the moon, I might be like, all right, I'm gonna watch that one live when it happens. That's gonna be kind of cool to see somebody go to the moon for the first time since 1972.
We're actually gonna have our own moon landing.
But here's the thing: this is my new suspicion. It's not going to happen because it's gonna get delayed by like a long time until they make some major changes, because I do remember one thing, which is, guess who is contracted to design the fucking lunar lander?
No.
I'll give you a hint. His company just bought Twitter.
Oh, motherfucker.
And so obviously it's going to somehow explode. It's going to land on the moon and explode.
So the benefit here of what I've heard is that, to give credit to SpaceX, here's what I've heard from former SpaceX employees, that SpaceX was its own company before Elon Musk, right?
Yes, before he invented space.
Before he invented space, before he coined the concept of space, and very early on in the process, they were a very small team when Elon bought them. And the company itself, outside of Elon, has like hired like 4 or 5 people to just be like yes men to Elon. To just walk around him and be like, yes, of course, Mr. Musk. Yes, of course, Mr. Musk. And then just ignore whatever he says to just make actual fucking rockets.
Yeah, I heard about this because there was like a group of people at SpaceX who just like basically started a World of Warcraft guild so that it would look like to Elon Musk like they were pulling late nights, but they just like went raiding. Just stayed after work to raid.
They just stay in and like play World of Warcraft late because then Elon thinks that's good, and then they just make rockets on the side. So they make fine rockets. The problem though that everyone the thing that fucks with me a little bit though is that everyone gives SpaceX so much fucking credit for like reusable booster engines or like refurbishable boosters and things of that nature, but like almost all the technology that SpaceX uses is designed by NASA or like NASA contractors.
Yeah, it's like their rockets are just like NASA rockets, except only half the time they explode half the time. So two things. One, thank you for the 5 GBP super chat there, 255, who said, "I'd be careful with that, Mia, ignoring precedent and claiming that they're, quote, just following the law is the rationale for a lot of far-right rulings in the U.S. But the U.S. doesn't use civil code, so I don't know what that is." And also, Jesse G has shown up in the chat. Hello.
Good evening. What's wrong with me? I've worked like 15-hour days for the past week. My brain is like running on fumes at this point. Hello.
Fair. I was like that until basically I took yesterday off mostly. So I took yesterday off, and specifically for the YouTubers to know. I took yesterday off specifically so that I would not be looking at what number I'm at all day. Because everyone knows that your mood is way too our moods are all way too tied to what the dashboard number is between 1 and 10.
Yes. This is why I'm in a good mood.
Yeah, I'm at a 5 out of 10 right now, which is this is good. I'll take it. I'll take like, 5 and lower anytime.
As long as it's above a 7, I'm usually happy. My one before this one was a 7 for a long time, and then it was like, okay.
This one was up to 3, and 3 I'm like, oh, things are going well. But then it went down to 5 overnight, so we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I mean, that'll happen. Analytics.
Yeah, so if anyone doesn't know, because it sounds like we're just saying crazy things, if you're a YouTube creator, one of the things that happens is that there's the YouTube that you use to watch videos, and then there's like the dashboard, like the background that you use for uploading videos and stuff like that. And and what happens in one of the things they have is the first thing you see when you open the app or go to the page is you see your last video compared to the last 9 releases and where it ranks in like at 1 day and 1 hour compared to other videos, where is it at? And so if you're like at 1 out of 10, it means it's the most successful video out of your last 10 releases that for views at that point. And I'm currently at 5, but you know, ever since they implemented that feature, it has like destroyed everybody's mental health.
Yes. Because they also give you like helpful tips when you don't do super well, being like, looks like returning viewers aren't watching this as much.
Next time you should make a video that people do watch. Thanks YouTube. I appreciate that.
Seems like this video was uploaded at a time when people don't watch as much.
They don't say that though. They should. They don't like. Okay, so the other thing is that when you release a video, the time you release it doesn't actually matter because on a long enough time, everything evens out. But the thing is, like, I had a time for a while where, like, my last video where it looked like it was tanking hard, and it was because I released it on an America holiday. I released it on like a holiday in the U.S. that I forgot about, but they wouldn't say like, hey, YouTube is getting lower than average traffic right now from your typical audience, so maybe you should, like, you know, tamper your expectations. But instead they're just like, you're getting less views than usual from your regular viewers. And I'm
weird.
I'm like, what? Why? Stop.
Your subscribers aren't watching this video.
Interesting. Have you considered making videos that people do watch?
They're so assholey about it.
Yeah, like that's the typical like analytics stuff. Like they'll be like, huh. I'm like, this is thank you for the actionable advice there, YouTube. And Jesse pointed out very rightly, this doesn't make us sound less crazy. Yeah. But you can.
No one should do this as a job.
No. It's definitely designed for, like, if your video doesn't do well, it's trying to psychologically manipulate you into making another video right away. But instead, because our videos take like 4 weeks to make.
Takes forever to make a video.
Yeah.
Unless you have a good producer and shit.
All right. Mia, if someone wants to do alternate history without implicitly endorsing great man theory, should they try to pick a point of divergence that's like a massive natural disaster instead of a single human choice? I have an idea for an alternate history story where the USSR ends up being the only global superpower, but not based around them just picking a better leader or something. The POD I came up with was some kind of natural disaster yet to be decided wipes out most of the humans in North America in 1960.
Yellowstone blows up.
Yellowstone, there you go.
Ends the Cold War.
Causes
yeah,
a
something like that.
Causes a global drop in temperature, and it's the colder war.
Oh, title right there.
Yep.
See. You could pick that. You could also pick. I remember. There was some alternate history written on like a forum a couple of years ago that I read that where the point of divergence was a coal field in what the fuck was it? It was a coal field in like Western France or something. And the existence of that coal field like changes how the Industrial Revolution happens and changes like because it isn't there in real life, but they add it in the alternate history story, and like how that would impact the world.
So there's just like no coal, and so the Industrial Revolution has to happen without coal.
No, there is coal, but there's more coal in Western Europe and not just in Central Europe, and like it's one of those like resources are like shifted around a little bit. So like there are more wars for I think in this universe like France gets
Turbo France.
No, France gets dismembered.
Oh no.
by its neighbors who want the natural resources. So like the British retake Normandy like after, because it's also like shallow coal, so it's like very easily accessible, so it's very easy to use like way before like real industrialization, for people to like heat their houses and shit, which is like the good kind of natural resource that you would need in the Middle Ages and shit. And it's just a bunch of those shifts basically.
Now
Poland becomes a superpower, I think.
Of course.
Because like they dismember France instead of Poland.
Now, I'm trying to remember what the name of it was, but there was a period in medieval history where very briefly the kingdoms of France and England were united for a while, and it was like all one country, but this like lasted like barely 20 years.
Yeah.
I don't remember what it was called, but I think that's the Polish-Lithuanian Commonwealth. I just assume when I don't know the name of a country that that's what it is. The EU,
no.
the EU4 country. It's the Avengian Empire. Okay.
Yeah, because the Polish-Lithuanian Commonwealth like was around for a long time, but there's a mod for Victoria 2, which also exists for Victoria 3, but it's not as good yet, called the Divergence of Darkness, in which instead of the English and French thrones splitting apart, they remain together. So you have like English culture in England, you have French culture in the South, and then between them they have like this Angloid. I think it's actually called the Angloid culture that has like mixed between
the worst
English and
worst
French.
Culture.
Yeah, the absolute worst. Culture.
We heard you. We took the two worst cultures on Earth and we mashed them together. I can say that because I belong to both of them. It also led
to like a united. It also led to like a united Scandinavia. The Holy Roman Empire is still there because Napoleon didn't break it.
It just sounds like someone who thought there were too many countries. It was just like, all right.
Yes. Well, to be fair, the Holy Roman Empire is still there, so. That's like the biggest sinner when it comes to too many countries. And then also, Scandinavia owns Scotland.
Like you do.
For some reason.
What's it called? The Great Orkney Empire.
Yeah.
Because isn't that like an island that is like it belongs to Scotland, but it's made up of like descendants of Norwegian people or something?
Oh yeah, probably. Those islands, like we kicked out all the Celts or whatever who lived there before us, like 1,000 years ago.
The Empire of Jorvik. Make it happen, everybody. Oh man. Okay, so that's wild. I don't like. You know what's an interesting alternate history thing? Maybe you talk about this in the video. I'll have to like watch this today, so I might have to somehow go to another coffee shop. But a lot of alternate histories tend to be. It's either basically like racist reactionaries trying to work out their historical grievances by saying, hey, what if the shitty people won the war because I like those people more? Mm-hmm. Or it's like, what if the world sucked more than it does? And it's very rare that you end up with like an alternate history that's like, hey, what if a good thing happened? Like For All Mankind's the only one that I can really think of like where the history is better than what we got.
Yeah. God, I wish we lived in the For All Mankind timeline.
Yeah. We'd be YouTubing from Pluto or whatever.
We probably would be. Like from Venus or some shit.
Mm-hmm.
Because like they land on Mars, spoiler, in what, like 1995?
I think it's like, yeah, 95. Yeah, you're right. Because they move it up.
Yeah, so I'm 2 years old at that point. And they have more advanced technology than we do.
They have fusion power already.
They have clean energy. They fixed global warming in the fucking like late 80s.
God, I wish that was me.
Yeah. I wish.
The only thing that sucks about it is that even in that better universe, they still have an Elon Musk.
Yeah.
They got so mad that he played he was what's it called? He was the unkillable X-Men character that got killed, and he got so mad about that injustice that he became Elon Musk.
Yeah, it's the same guy, you're right.
Yeah. I did not realize how big a deal killing Darwin in that random X-Men movie was going to be.
This is not supposed to die. That's his whole thing.
Yeah. I did, as I said, I was watching the She-Hulk show, and I did love that they got Tim Roth to come back to be like a comedic cult, like pop psychologist guy.
Okay.
Just the idea of Tim Roth doing like a funny, goofy character like that, like playing like this like peaceful. Because like if you remember, he was in the Edward Norton Hulk movie.
Oh yeah.
As Abomination, and it's like now he's like reformed and he like starts a cult and everything.
Oh yeah, I remember that. I haven't seen that much of the She-Hulk show, but he's in there. Yeah, that's actually quite good. It's fun to see that Hulk movie like
Acknowledged,
move its way back into canon. Yeah.
Yeah. I have been now this is all just very rumor. I have been hearing rumblings that because they had the Namor thing in the other movie that I haven't seen, the Wakanda Forever movie, and because they're doing the She-Hulk thing, that it means that they've worked out some sort of deal with Universal, and so they might be getting their Universal things back. Because, you know, when all companies own the properties, that it's all going to be, that's all good things, good things.
I can't wait to have one intellectual property to consume, like one fiction, and it is the Marvel fiction.
Yeah. I mean, I on one hand I hate megacorps. On the other hand, undoing sort of Marvel's 1990s like we're about to go bankrupt fire sale of all their intellectual property finally ending would be I guess nice for like the thing. The other thing about Namor that I find very funny, apparently, is that they had to Photoshop in the movie his bulge down quite a bit.
Yeah.
Perfect.
They keep doing that in fucking movies where they have to like tone down that. Just if you don't want that, don't cast that.
Oh, it's December. Are you drinking your Christmas soda yet?
Oh yes.
I don't remember what it's called, but
Julmust.
yeah, then that's exactly what I was, because someone just asked, how do you feel about Julmust? That's actually a question that just popped up.
I legitimately love it. It's legit. It's honestly like one of the best drinks of ever.
Can you describe what it tastes like?
You should go to IKEA because they have Christmas drink, which is it's basically it's the same, but they can't call it julmust because it's not technically a must. Because a must is a type of drink that's made in a certain way, and Christmas drink is just a soda that tastes the same. So, what was the question?
Just, do you like Julmust? And apparently the answer is yes.
Yes, I fucking love julmust.
I
honestly fucking love it. Like,
I just try to see if it was
so
on
good.
Amazon, and you can get 4 bottles of it for $69.
What? That's way too expensive.
I feel like that is coming directly from what's it called? Like, it's being imported, basically.
Yeah. But like, if you have an IKEA like near where you live, just go there.
I don't think we do, but I'm gonna find out.
Yeah.
I'm on IKEA's website right now, but I think the closest one is. Yep. Okay. Yeah, the closest one's like a 2-hour drive from here.
Oh, fuck that.
But, it's the city my parents live in. It's the IKEA that I grew up near. So, are you having like the thing where the Julmust shows up earlier and earlier every year now?
Yep. It showed up like a month ago before Halloween. But it's not nearly as popular as it's not being picked up. I can tell it's not being picked up because like I remember it was even earlier last year. Like it was like mid-October and now it's like late October. So I think they're trying to find the sweet spot of like where you can start rolling out Christmas shit. And like I think the line that they're finding is we still want to have fucking Halloween.
It's like here with eggnog. They're trying to figure out when to put eggnog in all the shops.
Yeah.
And have you done the tradition? Have you buried your fish in the backyard yet for Christmas?
They don't do that. That's what the Norwegians do, and the Icelandics. We put our fish in a barrel, and we don't put in enough salt to store it. And I've done that. It's a different fish rotting tradition.
We do different terrible things to fish.
Yeah.
Have you ever?
I love how we have. Hold on. I just realized because like the Icelandics bury fish in like its own urine. The Norwegians bury fish in lime because they hate themselves. We let fish rot without salt, just in a barrel. Did the Danes do anything with fucking fish?
Do they have their own version of surströmming? Do they also eat rotten fish with potatoes and onions?
I don't know. I don't think so. I think they have like a normal food diet because they're connected to they're connected to mainland Europe, right? So they got a taste of like actual German food and was like, fuck this Nordic shit.
They are kicked out of being a Nordic country until they can find some horrible abuse of fish that they can
Yeah, the Danes married the fish. That is true.
I don't know this joke.
The Little Mermaid is Danish.
Oh, right.
The author who wrote the Little Mermaid is Danish. So they have a statue of the mermaid like in the Copenhagen harbor.
Oh, I didn't know it was that big a deal. Okay.
Oh yeah, they're proud of it.
Okay. Next question we got here is, have you ever tried sugar-free Julmust? If you haven't, you should.
It's fine. I prefer with sugar because I'm trash and a child.
Okay. Egyptians put fish in barrels to rot and call it fishik. Swedes and Egyptians are obviously related. There's your next. There's a new history conspiracy theory that the ancient Egyptians are secretly Swedes.
I think that exists actually.
Oh yeah?
And something about like Nordic people building the pyramids. Yeah, I think I've heard something about that. Also, literally what I'm doing in Crusader Kings 3 right now.
Well, that's because in Crusader Kings, I knew it was in Crusader Kings 2. I don't know if it is in Crusader Kings 3, but there was in Crusader Kings 2, if you can make Vikings convert to Islam, it's like the most overpowered combo ever.
Yeah.
And like you can destroy everything with it. Muslim Vikings is like the most dangerous combination of people in the game. It's like broken.
Yeah. If you convert to Islam, you can... That's it. Like the entire world will be dominated by by Caliph Johan Björnsson.
Now that's had to have happened in history at some point, yeah?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Where
we keep finding like coins that have like Arabic lettering on it that says for Allah, in Viking graves and shit. And there are also like pendants that have symbology of Islam. It's not known whether or not they converted or they just liked the jewelry and they liked the coins to trade. Because like, ooh, shiny pendant, or I have actually converted. Like it's like difficult to know. But like we went there.
Like you telling me that Islam has had a long and storied history of being in Europe and that they have existed in Europe forever and ever and ever, and that thinking that there's some sort of new invention is ahistorical?
Weird, right?
I know. That's not the way that...
Weird. It's weird how like almost everything we know about like personal Viking society comes from Muslim scholars who wrote about us.
Yeah.
Because we didn't write ourselves.
You did write yourselves. You wrote, "This thing is high," or
"This thing is high."
Deer antler.
I am the strongest person in the village.
It's a society that Viking society was a society where they communicated entirely through graffiti, but like dumb graffiti. Like this is very tall. I do like that. Like there was no poetry involved. Like it was very much like they'll be like, we don't know what the runes on this thing say, like on this sword say, and then they're like, we found a translation and it says sword.
This antler has arcane writing in it. Means antler.
It's perfect. It's like what's it called?
Swedes have always been office nerds. We like labeling everything.
That's true. Oh man. And then like rune stones are just like, I am very badass. Here is a stone that says I'm great.
That's what they do though. There's like one of the best preserved rune stones in my old university city because they took a bunch of rune stones and just put them in the park. It's great. So you can walk around all of the stones and just read them all in one go. One of the best preserved ones is just like Knut is the strongest and most handsome man in the village. No one can top Knut. Knut is the best person in the world. And then in the bottom, because they all have like, they all have credits. Most of them have credits because in the bottom they say like, carved by Johan, commissioned by Knut. Because they say that shit, and I love that they do that.
So like, not only was it a society that communicated entirely through graffiti, but like the kind of graffiti you find in the bathroom of a bar, not like
yes.
Like there's a runestone that says, "For a good time, go to the hut that's at the end of the lane on the right."
I keep telling you, we're a society of drunk jocks.
And then what happened? You've lost your way.
Yeah, then the Christians came.
That's my palingenic ultranationalism. Disregard modernity, return to Viking. There's so much gold going unplundered.
I love how people also, whenever people talk about like Viking culture and sort of like, oh, it was weird. It's weird how society changed when like the Christians came into Northern Europe. A lot of people will always say like, well, Vikings were like a murderous, rampaging society, completely ignoring that the way that the north of Europe became Christian was through crusades, and then the first thing we did once we were Christians was to crusade into Finland. It's like the first thing y'all did when y'all came here was to kill even more people, and to create crusader states. There's a reason why our flags have crosses on them. We're crusader states, basically.
The British, the British being like, oh yes, the Vikings were bloodthirsty, murderous monsters who just wanted to pillage from innocent victims. I am the curator of the British Museum, and you see, things are very different here.
Yeah.
Thank you for another 5 GBP 255. Fave but hurt Reddit comment. I wonder if someone made an alternate history timeline where this person says something intelligent. Ooh! Probably too unrealistic. Wow. That's some fighting words.
Ooh.
You just got owned, Mia, by somebody on Reddit.
You got owned by a Redditor. Shit. What on earth am I gonna do?
Yeah.
I can't believe that I'm listening to the raw, unfiltered comments of people who can't read, who can't listen to what I say in the beginning, that I love alternate history and that the alt-right is a very small minority of the community.
Lovely. Yeah, I think I'm trying to remember what it was like. But like, very much being a YouTuber sometimes is saying like, you know, this is an oversimplification, but XYZ, and in many ways that's wrong. And then they'll be like, you just said XYZ. Screw you.
I've learned that people don't want context.
Yeah.
People legitimately just hate context.
Like, I think in the chat we've got the YouTuber Rosenkreutz, who's like a sort of paradox history YouTuber who makes some pretty good stuff.
I made a video with Rosenkreutz.
Oh, nice.
Actually, fun fact.
Excellent. Well, I know that like Rosenkreutz has made some videos about like how like, hey, Victoria 2 is great. It also has some really like Eurocentric overtones in it that we should address. And then I can imagine the response was, oh, so you hate this game that you put 2,000 hours into.
Why do you hate fun?
Yeah.
When you point out, when you try to explore the depth and nuances of the hobby. Why won't you let people have an interest in a hobby without exploring the hobby?
Yeah.
I mean, I will say though that like this video is very well liked and the reception has been very good. So like these are the people who have a problem with it are probably just like angry people.
Yeah.
On Reddit.
I made a Tristan Won't Shut Up video about some of the issues in Crusader Kings that I hope they addressed in Crusader Kings 3 when Crusader Kings 3 is about to come out. And oh boy, Paradox fans, very normal people.
Very touchy.
I cannot overstate how normal Paradox fans are. To the extent where some people have kind of said that Crusader Kings 2 is partly responsible for the sort of Crusader imagery being reinvigorated in like alt-right spaces and stuff. It's like, oh.
Yes. In my research for this video, this comes up in the video.
See, I'm just like going over the things that you just already said. So.
But this is the thing that I love also talking about this, because this is how I write my scripts too. Because the game came out, the Crusader Kings 2 became a surprise hit. It came out in 2012. It uses the word Deus Vult frequently, and in 2013, white nationalists started using the term in meme content. So there's and then Crusader imagery becomes like a lot more prevalent than it has before. This is also with the idea that the terrorist Breivik in Norway used a lot of Crusader imagery, and that didn't, as far as I can tell, like flurry out into like a big Crusader like fan base basically. But in Crusader Kings 2, like people found an outlet for that there, and then as the game goes on, Deus Vult becomes a sort of like battle cry for like white nationalists and racists. Also, yeah, like there, I had parts in the video where it's like, Crusader imagery generally became a lot more accepted within like alt-right communities, where they started calling like any brown person who doesn't believe in God and like a Christian God, a Saracen, and just using a lot of like Crusader language and imagery in their racism. Yeah, like Resin Kurt says, watch the video. It's good. I think you'll like it.
On kebab, yeah, kebab is the no kebab thing is from the Bosnian genocide.
Yes.
Fun.
Which became like a meme, like a big meme for multiple years, which is kind of fucked up thing to have.
Yeah. Maybe if you have memes that come from the Bosnian genocide, you should reevaluate your memes.
Yes.
Yeah, man, this does sound like a really base video. Okay, I got, like I said, I probably got to watch it this afternoon at some point. But you know, because I actually don't have that much to do this afternoon, I guess. And
I mean, like it's like going anywhere.
Yeah.
It might go somewhere because YouTube copyright gave me a copyright flag for a Neville Chamberlain speech.
Well,
which I'm pretty sure is in public domain, but I don't know.
The next thing I'm doing after this stream is over is working out on the treadmill that is in my living room by the TV, so I can just put it on Nebula. I'm just going to go to nebula.tv/stepback and then go to Mia Mulder to... Or maybe I'll watch a Curiosity stream thing at curiositystream.com/stepback, and then I will sign up for as little as $15 a month so that I can get... or $15 a year so that I can get access to Nebula for free.
Yeah, and then when you're done watching videos there, and you go to bed, remember to go to adamandeve.com and use code MIA for 50% off one item with free shipping in the US and Canada.
Oh no, what have we become?
We've become hustlers, Tristan. This is what we do.
My favorite thing of all time is the fact that I got Adam and Eve to sponsor my 9/11 video. Makes me very happy.
Tristan, this video, you're gonna like this because like on a similar vein, because it's like a little absurd, right? My most recent video starts with like, this video is sponsored by Adam and Eve, and then it's like a 2-second silence, and then it's like, after the assassination of Archduke Ferdinand in 1914, Europe is plunged into the horrors of the First World War.
Of course. Oh man, I can't wait to watch this one. Now I'm like really thinking about it.
But this is what I mean. Like every time, the more we talk about this, the more I'm like, I think you're gonna like a lot of elements in this.
Yeah, it seems like this video was. It's nice of you to make a video specifically for me, Mia. That's very nice of you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, every other video that I make is specifically for you, Tristan.
Yeah. My favorite.
Kind of true, actually.
To make my favorite Mia quote. Finally, something for you.
Yeah. That resonated with you. I remember that.
Because it's just like it was the delivery.
Yeah.
It's like this one. I'm gonna talk to the cis straight guys. Finally, something for you. Congrats on yeah. What's it called? Adam and Eve is a great sponsor to get for any video. It instantly adds 10 funny points to whatever video you're doing.
That is true. I did have a Bismarck fisting scene, but I had to remove that because like I didn't have to show that to anyone to know that would not fly on YouTube.
Oh no. Try the new Pickelhaube.
Yep.
Sensory device. The vibrating Pickelhaube with the vibrating spike.
God.
Don't worry, it's got a flared base.
Well, anyway.
Sorry, that's the worst thing I think I've ever said. Okay. This what's it called?
We've reached new lows today, Tristan.
This is what happens. We're out of questions right now, and so like that's what happens when we run out of questions. I also need to somehow play Victoria 3 again, because I played it a bit when it first came out and then stopped because all I could do was crash my economy and lose wars, and I was like, I should probably know anything about how this game works before I play it again.
Yeah.
And I get like 25 minutes to play a day of anything, so...
Yeah, I think this game is like very much like for like a short-term burst sort of thing. Because like when I play Victoria 3, I spend like 2 days in like a blur trying to optimize like Serbian textile economies.
Yeah, you need to get it. The thing is, to play the game in a fun way, you have to basically get a master's degree in how to play Victoria 3, and I am nowhere close to that. Got a question. How could I put the pickle haba in the dishwasher?
You can't.
Well, you just put it spike side down in the place where you put the utensils, or if you buy a proper one, you could actually remove the spike and wash it separately.
That is true.
Usually
and you should unscrew them after use.
Or just thinking about the other way you could have it is that the pickle halba could be like if you ever seen like those Orthodox priests who have like the cross on top of their hats can like have like hinges on them that can fold down for when they go into cars. Because you have,
yeah, like a little
yeah. So you can fold it up if you ever need to. If you're ever in a situation where you don't want to stab whatever is on top of you at any given time, you could just
unscrew.
What was the point of that to the Germans? Was it supposed to be scary? Was it just like...
Oh, it's ceremonial, right? It's not really... It wasn't really used in actual combat very much, except in very rare circumstances. If I remember correctly, because it's mostly ceremonial. And it's just to make it like look more impressive, I think. I don't really know what the point is about it. Because you don't want it in battle, right? Because it's a good place to like for an enemy to like hold on to, or for something to hit you and like knock off the helmet. It's like a good thing to have in a helmet.
Yeah. In many ways, this made no sense, but in other ways, this is the war where France dressed up their soldiers with freaking dragoon breastplates and red and blue brightly colored armor and put them on horseback to charge into machine gun fire. So nothing about World War I made sense.
Good point.
This is the one where they mounted cannons on trains.
Which we should keep doing, by the way.
Yes.
I've seen some. I follow combat footage on Reddit, and I see a lot of stuff from Ukraine currently. Like they have put guns on trains, which is very funny. Anyway, I immediately forgot. Yes, if you want to see real life pickle hubs, if you want to see real life of them actually being used in an actual ceremonial thing, you should come to Stockholm and see the Swedish Royal Guard do the changing of guards and shit. Because like they have the thing. The Royal Guards have the spiky hat. Because our military culture is very similar to the one of like Imperial Germany. Because back when Imperial Germany was a thing, us and Sweden were like us and them were like this. And so we formed a lot of our military around them. And then Germany lost, and we were like, don't worry about that.
That's... Gosh. This kind of makes me think. Because, like, in North America, we have this weird habit of trying to do war recreations for our wars because, you know, our country hasn't seen an actual war in, like, over 2 centuries. Or on our soil anyway. And I'm like, just imagining if like people did like battle reenactments for like the Battle of Passchendaele and stuff like that. Like, let's all like rot our feet off in fucking Belgium. That's the problem, is that while people would want to do that, it would involve having to go to Belgium, and that's a thing nobody wants to do. So
exactly. Also, if you do go to Belgium, like you will likely just step on an actual bomb.
It's true. They're still demining
It's like
a
if you-
lot of the sort of space between Germany and Belgium, right? Because it's still from World War One. Holy shit!
Yeah. Every year, farmers in fields have to call bomb squads.
I heard that happens in Germany too, with like how much like bombs were dropped during World War II. They just randomly find unexploded bombs in like a basement or something.
Yeah. Or like
So, yeah.
under streets, like when they do renovations and shit, they just find bombs.
In case you needed another reason to not go to Belgium, kids, Belgium, just say no.
Just say no. The allure of a Belgian waffle might trick you, but once you're there, you'll start learning Flemish.
Once you get there, you realize you're in Belgium and immediately want to leave.
I like Belgium. Like, to be fair, I do actually like Belgium. I make a lot of fun of the Belgians, but like every time I have an opportunity to pass through Belgium, I always have a good time.
Yeah.
So like, I only hate Belgium from like a
Meme reasons.
from like a meme nationalism standpoint.
I mean, I went to Belgium and but I had a different thing, which is that I demanded that they all get me chocolate and waffles in as large a number as possible. And if they didn't get me enough chocolate or waffles, I cut their hands off and sent them back to receive more chocolate and waffles. And then I made
That's what you should do in Belgium.
then I burned down Brussels and made a city called Tristenberg.
Make one railway that goes from like one end right into Tristenberg
Yeah,
with the sole purpose of exporting waffles.
the waffle terror. Yeah, you just gotta do that once. Just get them a little taste. Mamma Mia's law applies to Belgium. Everybody, it's fine.
What's Mamma Mia's law?
You do not know the reference that we have been making to you in our podcast. So
Oh God!
yeah, so we used to have we did an episode about Renaissance paintings, and we had to open it with saying it is officially okay to make fun of Italians, because me and I established on a stream that
Yes.
if a country had a colony, it's okay to make fun of them in any way you want, and because we were talking about Italy, we established that its name had to be Mamma Mia's Law.
Bless.
Does Belgium still have a monarchy? That would be very
Yes.
Yes. But the
They
thing is,
do.
nobody knows who it is, because then they would have to admit that they're the king of Belgium, and nobody wants to say that, so they have to again.
It's actually up for grabs for whoever wants it, but no one's taking it yet.
Yeah. It's the only royal title nobody wants. They're like, you get like this fancy mansion, and you get like a ton of free taxpayer money. And they're like, okay, well, what's the title? Well, you have to, the only downside is the mansion is in Belgium, and you have to call yourself the king of Belgium. And they're like, pass.
They might have one of those like interesting titles where it's not King of Belgium, but King of the Belgians.
King of all the Belgiums.
Which I really like. The Swedish, oh God, the King of Sweden's title used to be, now it's the Kingdom of Sweden. So it used to, now it's the country, the King of Sweden. But it used to be the King of the Svear, the King of the Götar, and the King of the Wender. So the Svear are the people who like lived in the Stockholm area in like 2,000 years ago, basically, and the Götar are the people who lived in the south, but mostly eastern Sweden.
King of the Andals and the First Men.
Kind of. So like that's Gothenburg. So Göte Goth is from there. But then the Wender are people who don't exist anymore, as far as I can tell. I might be wrong on that. That used to make up a large part of Germany. And this was like the Swedish title for like up until like the 80s, 70s, something like that. And so for a long time we just said that like, yeah, we're our king is also the king of most of Germany.
Go for it. You could also say, before we go, because it's actually 2:00, you could just declare yourself, if I was the king of Belgium, I would just simply call myself the king of Burgundy and just try to get that going again.
The king of Burgundy?
Yeah. All right. But before we
That's what you need to
before on that great note, before we dip off into our weekends, Mia, this has been a great year of streaming with you. I hope to come back with you next year. This is the second last stream of 2022, and I know that when you come back, we will figure out a cool way for us all to be streaming. It's great.
Yeah.
But
It's
before,
been a great year streaming with you too. Sorry,
Yeah.
I've been so busy.
it's all good. You're a politician now. So if anybody wanted to consume your content, where should they go?
Um,
Adam and Eve talk.
Yeah, sorry, and I'm going to talk for 50 minutes. If you want more Mia Mulder content, you should go to miamulder.com, and that should take you to my YouTube channel where you can watch my videos. I just released a new video on alternate history content, which is good, I think. I'm also the co-host of a podcast called Leech Fest, which is a podcast about medical history, which is also very good, I think. If you have a complaint about the municipal government in Sollentuna, Sweden, you should send an email to mia.mulder@sollentuna.se. And I also stream games on Twitch, on twitch.tv/miamulder. Sometimes I have not had time like the last month because I'm building a political staff and it takes forever.
Yeah. I'll be back next week. Take care of yourselves. Take care of each other. Everybody on Twitch, we're going to go raid Lumiru because they're great.